Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment, news, and random topics we bring to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm proud to be reunited with my friend Mike Stuglis. How you doing?
Good. Good.
Really enthusiastic, Mike. You're just not feeling it today? What's the deal?
I'm real good. I came back from Canada and immediately went and saw The Mummy, so real change of pace there in my life.
So, like, you were at your height, and now you've been brought back down?
Oh, yeah. It was, I went from catching walleye and pike to, I don't know. That movie was fucking dog shit. I really can't try to be witty with that one.
And next to Mike is Danny Stewart. How are you doing? That's a quote from Tom Cruise in The Mummy. In this film, he screams a lot. And it's funny because in the trailers, he screamed like that, and they completely moved that scream into that for the trailer. Like, he doesn't scream like that in that scene in the movie. Do you guys notice that?
It's like, it's not as long.
On. Yeah, and it's not as long.
Yeah.
They, like, cut that.
Yeah, it's not as long. I noticed it was in a
it's
completely
a
different
shit movie.
scene.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, we'll get into it. I'm just shooting the shit real quick, you know? But you enjoyed Canada, Mike?
I did. It was a good time to be away from civilization for about a week. And
it's always nice.
It was a good bonding time with me and my dad and brother. We had a great time.
It's great. All right, I'm going to take us into our news this week. Sony has announced their Clean Version initiative. And what that is they are working with Yahoo Movies, a service that nobody uses, to make a lot of their films more family friendly. That includes 24 films that they've made clean. So think of it as like a TV edited version, but now available on Yahoo Movies. And I'll get into why it's problematic later, but let me just run through a few of them. We've got things like 51st Dates, Captain Phillips, both Ghostbusters movies, not including the horrible new one. Both Grown Ups, Hancock, the original Spider-Man trilogy, the Amazing Spider-Man movies, and Step Brothers, things like that. So what it is, it's, again, through Yahoo Movies, and they're just kind of making these family-friendly versions. And this story gained a lot of speed when Seth Rogen got kind of vocal about it on Twitter, saying, quote, "Holy shit, please don't do this to our movies. Thanks." And I'm right there with him, because if we're kind of dumbing down our movies for Yahoo Movies like that, when will it stop? Maybe they're going to start doing that for other things. And I get that TV needs to censor them, but if we're doing it for services now, you know, are we going to eventually see in the theaters there'll be a clean version? You know, I don't really understand this. You guys have anything to say?
I just think it's dumb. You know, when you're younger, the anticipation to wait and see a movie that's rated R or PG-13 is special. And I feel like this takes that away. And then maybe a kid goes and sees, I don't know, Step Brothers, and he, like, thinks it's funny when he's a kid, and then, like, watches the dirty version, and he's like, "Oh, they didn't need it to be vulgar." It's like, no, shut up.
It's like, you know, I think this is society raising too many pansies, Ryan. And I am completely against that, because here's the thing. When we were 12 or 13, the first Hangover movie came out. I saw that in theaters, dude. Like, you know, I mean, that's poor of the AMC over in New Lenox for letting like 13-year-old kids into the movie theater, but it was a rated R movie, and it was fucking hysterical, and it was the first like rated R movie I've seen, other than, like, you know, like, I had seen Shawshank and, like, The Godfather before that, but, like, I was watching that with my parents. Like, The Hangover was the first, like, rated R movie I went to actually go, like, see in the movie theaters. And it was definitely, like, worth it, you know? Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
That was probably around the time where he first started, like, swearing consistently, too. You know, I'm not, like, blaming The Hangover. I fucking love that movie. It's a great movie. But, like, it was part of growing up, kind of, you know? Like Mike said, you kind of wait for that moment, and it's sick, because you watch like Step Brothers, which is like one of my favorite comedies, and I know every fucking line. And when I watch it on like some TV network that can't swear, like it ruins the movie. It absolutely ruins the movie, and I hate when it's on TV. And it's not on like HBO or something where I can watch like the actual version of the movie that was meant to be seen by people rather than a pansy ass version with like blanked out like "suck my sock," instead of cock. Like that's ridiculous.
There's already movies that are made for families. Why do you have to take movies that are not made for families and have to? I don't understand.
Like they made
That's
and
exactly
with
right.
movie theaters and everything. It's never gonna go to the movie theaters. Hopefully. I hope this fucking society, doesn't suck that much to where it does that. But they made the movie rating scale from G to R to fucking X so that certain people don't watch certain things. So that's, and the theater runs by that somewhat strictly. I mean, remember when we went and saw The Hateful Eight? At not a regular theater. It was out somewhere like near Chicago, and it was like out in Oak Lawn or something like that. And like the lady actually like looked at Tim's ID, and Tim was 19 or 18. Like she was trying to say he was younger than 17.
Like he was using a fake ID to go see a movie. Like what are some people doing? Like, I don't know. I just find this ridiculous, and I think we're all on the same page with that, right?
Yeah,
it's
fuck
a little.
that.
Yeah, it's just like if The Hangover is rated R, you don't get to see The Hangover. That's you can see
if you're a kid-
Cars or
if you're a
something, which are
kid.
still great movies. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you don't need to make them clean. Just watch the other Sony movies that are clean. And again, like I don't even know why they're doing this to Spider-Man.
Yeah, what the fuck is dirty about Spider-Man? I was gonna ask.
I don't know.
Mary Jane's nipples in the first Spider-Man.
Oh,
one nipple.
No, two. It's in the rainy scene where she kisses him upside down.
oh man,
Yeah.
that scene is
What's her name?
spicy.
Kirsten
But moving
Dunst.
on, talking about spicy and turning up the heat, we've got our next story. Dan, you want to take us into this?
Oh yeah. I like hot wings. Fahrenheit 451, the classic book, is adding some cast members. It's adding the Mummy, like the shitty Mummy, but I don't know. She's hot. Sophia Boutella. She's also in Kingsman. She plays that lady with the knife legs.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Oh, that's her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know.
And then also she's gonna star with Michael Shannon and Michael B. Jordan. Michael B. Jordan will be playing Hung Guy Montag, and Michael Shannon will be playing Captain Beatty. Now, this is like one of my favorite books that I read like in high school. Like a lot of people kind of like hated high school books, but like this is one of the ones that I really enjoyed. I read this sophomore year. And like, other than that sophomore year, I read like The Crucible and Julius Caesar and shit like that. And this was just like an awesome like telling of the future, how like we're fucked if we stop reading and trusting technology too much, and like, people actually become dumber with all this smart technology out. And it's really a great story. And to add people like Michael Shannon and Michael B. Jordan, who have already kind of proved themselves as really good actors in the Hollywood game. Maybe Sophia Boutella can she was in Kingsman. That's a blockbuster film. She didn't really have a lot of speaking lines in it, but she was awesome. The Mummy, it's a terrible movie. It's really not good for her. I mean, she was like good, okay in it. I'm not gonna say
We'll get into it.
we'll get into it, but maybe if she has like a big role in this could like slingshot her into other big roles. So. This is good casting for a good book that hasn't been made into a movie since like the 70s, I think. Like they first tried to make a
66.
movie out of it. So this is interesting. I like this. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's a good starting cast. Now, I don't remember the book very much. We're assuming she's playing the wife. Does the wife have that big of a role in it?
Yeah, she's
she's
important.
pretty significant. She's like, well, he kind of like questions, like loving her because she's like so into the.
Oh, right. She watches a lot of TV,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe she's like the young girl.
Maybe.
Remember, like
Oh,
I mean, it
remember?
just seems like her and Michael B. Jordan are similar in age That's why I think they'd be
Oh
husband
yeah,
and wife.
that's a good point.
But yeah, this is just more casting to a movie that's getting off the ground. I don't remember the book a whole lot, so I don't have a whole lot of input. But I think Sofia Boutella is pretty good. Again, we'll get into the Mummy later. She was cool in Kingsman, so yeah. I mean, that's about all. I'm not gonna overstay here. My welcome, Ryan. What do you think?
It's good casting. That is all.
That's it.
We'd all hold hands with Sofia Boutella though.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. No, past that. Unfortunately, yesterday it was terrible news to kind of start everybody's day with. Adam West passed away at the age of 88, and after a short battle with leukemia, Adam West is obviously most famous for being the first TV screen Batman in the 60s Batman television show. He was also Mayor Adam West in Family Guy. He obviously made a ton of cameos in a ton of different places everywhere. But this hit home. I mean, his Batman portrayal was just so iconic, and it represented an entire era of the character of Batman, and it's still recognized today, and it's so popular. And he was such a good soul up until the end of his life. I mean, doing Family Guy consistently. I mean, Adam West is one of the biggest side characters in Family Guy that shows up every other episode at least. And he was just working until he passed. And Adam West just seemed like a good soul. Everybody just seemed to love having him around, and it seems like he was like that the entire time. Just reading some of the in memoriam kind of things. The guy who played Robin in the 60s show had a nice piece about how he was just such a great person to be around. So this really hit home. That was a sad day for Hollywood yesterday.
I thought it was sad too. Mayor West in Family Guy is one of the funny. I like that he was still working.
Yeah.
I'm not saying with leukemia, just at that age, maybe he wasn't still acting, but he was still working in some capacity. And I think that says a lot about a person. Is he worked till he was 88, and from Batman he probably made enough money to where he just could have retired, and he still kept bringing joy to people's lives. So yeah, it's sad, and I'm interested to see if they'll have they are not going to recast Mayor West. I think they'll have a nice funeral, and Seth MacFarlane will probably do something nice, hopefully, because I would hate to see someone else try to voice him. But yeah,
they might
it's
already
really
have.
sad.
Sorry to cut you off there. They might already have next season recorded for Family Guy.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but Seth MacFarlane will handle it correctly.
Yeah, definitely. Ryan?
Everyone's always kind of known Adam West if you follow pop culture about that, and yeah, a lot of times I really couldn't find anything bad on the guy. Everyone always seemed to have good stories, and that's probably something that's hard to do when you're in Hollywood. He played Batman more than anybody, just over the decades, voicing Batman a lot of times, mostly until he died. And you can only really appreciate the guy. But I urge our audience to, if you can find it online, check out this pilot he did that was written by Conan O'Brien and Robert Smigel. Robert Smigel is the guy who is Triumph, the insult comic dog.
Oh my God!
And
so funny.
They did this pilot together, and what the premise was is that Adam West would play this actor who used to do a hit cop show, and he gets into law enforcement thinking he can actually solve crimes, and it was a really good pilot. If you can check it out, look it up. It's called Look Well.
Was it just a pilot that never got picked up?
Yeah, it was kind of just too ridiculous to ever picture in a series, probably for the showrunners. So, but yeah, check it out. But I mean, it's sad to see him go. The guy was a legend, and I think a lot of people wanted him to last a little longer, but unfortunately, leukemia took him away.
Yeah, but he lived a long life. 88's a long life, longer than I want to live.
Yeah.
Longer than I want
I
to.
don't even know if I'll make it that far.
Oh,
I mean,
probably not.
God damn.
Hey, let's try not to, guys.
Yeah. Let's do our best to not make it to 88.
To get off the gloom and doom, the Black Panther, the newest Marvel movie, which comes out in February. Well, not the next Marvel movie, but newest trailer, hit, and which stars Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, as you can previously see him in Civil War. Ryan, what did you think of the first Black Panther teaser trailer?
Well, it came to us at a good time, a few days, I want to say, or a day after they dropped a poster that was really, really bad. The internet kind of made fun of it.
CGI is terrible in it, or the look of it.
Yeah, Marvel has had a bad track record with their last two posters. It was just a really bad one for Spider-Man that came out, and then fortunately this trailer kind of saved the outlook on Black Panther. I was super impressed by the kind of production design to it of the city Wakanda that Black Panther takes place in. I was reading a lot of good things about the production designer. She's been involved in a lot of their projects that I can't recall, but she's very good, and they have this sort of like look going in this movie that I think is really unique, and it looks interesting. It's a sort of like third world sci-fi hybrid. And Jesus, it looks great. I had nothing else, but I can't wait.
The what stood out to me, one, I can't wait to see Ryan Coogler's direction on it, because he recently did Creed and Fruitvale Station, which are two fantastic movies. Both star Michael B. Jordan, who's going to be one of the villains. My favorite part of the trailer, you can talk about, like you said, Wakanda looks awesome. My favorite part was actually Andy Serkis's narration at the beginning. As he was sitting in the chair, and it's nice to see him not CGI'd in a movie, so people can actually see how good of an actor this guy is, and that's what I'm really excited for, because he was briefly in Age of Ultron, but his character of Ulysses Claw, who's kind of like this seedy underworld character, I am so excited to see the direction that his character goes, the direction that the women, I forget their names, but they're like the bodyguards to Black Panther, and you saw a glimpse of them in it too.
Yeah.
It was definitely a teaser trailer, even though it was longer than most, because it showed a lot of glimpses of the characters, but not the story, which is what I really liked about it.
Do you remember when teaser trailers were just like 30 seconds and just like the title card with the title and a little bit of music? And now it's like an hour and 50 seconds. Or not an hour, a minute and 50 seconds. It's crazy.
I like that you can, now they're not relying so much on the trailers after. You can do one teaser trailer and then do about two follow-up trailers, and you have your movie generally, that if it's marketed well. And I thought this teaser was perfect. I didn't love the music, because I feel like they just threw rap in there just to throw rap in there for it to sound kind of hip and different, but that's the marketing team's prerogative, I guess. But Dan, what'd you think?
I disagree. I kind of liked the rap music kind of thrown in there. I mean, it was just it wasn't like lyrics like backing the whole thing.
Yeah, you're right.
I just kind of liked the beat of it. It kind of matched the tone of the trailer, and I just kind of thought it was really well put together trailer. I mean, Black Panther, for me, other than Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War, was Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a great character already. Chadwick Boseman's a great actor, but we're putting together a great cast of African American actors, including what's his name from Get Out, Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah.
He's in it, and Michael B. Jordan's in it. Lupita Nyong'o is in it, and then obviously Chadwick Boseman. But then also having Martin Freeman in there, reprising his role. I don't remember what his character's name is.
Everett Ross or some type of Ross.
Yeah. From Civil War, and then of course Andy Serkis's Ulysses Claw. I just think this movie is going to be great. Well, at least I hope. The trailer makes it look that way. I mean, they're not going to try and dazzle you with incredible, visuals, and then not impressed with that good of a story like Doctor Strange did. I just think it's going to be a simple, good superhero movie that takes place in a unique location like Wakanda. So, it's not New York skyscrapers. So it's going to be an interesting movie, unique. I trust the people in charge. I trust the cast. So I'm hoping it'll be good. And Marvel does good. So we'll see.
It looks like they're really
Yeah.
embracing the difference in Wakanda. That's what I thought. It didn't look like all these superhero tropes you see. It looked like a lot of different characters,
Yeah.
and it looked very third world, which they say. That's what I really like too. Yeah.
And Mike, I want to play devil's advocate with a point Dan was making in support of him, that a hip hop soundtrack or sort of like hip hop aesthetic soundtrack might be something that you would want, because it would kind of break the cycle of generic superhero movies. And it almost sounded in the trailer with the music that was playing, it was subversive, it was sleek. And that might be the style of this movie. We get Ryan Coogler, a strong African-American director, directing a movie about, well, Africans in this case, but that might be the style he's going for, and it might actually match his directing. So I think we should tread carefully and just kind of see with further trailers if he does go with a sort of hip-hop vibe soundtrack. It might kind of gel well with everything.
Yeah, I might be
you know?
totally premature. Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, we'll see.
I don't
Who
disagree.
knows? It might get worse. I don't know.
Yeah, it could. It could
is a-
just
it
get
is-
shitty.
Is that all we got on Black Panther
Yeah.
and hip hop?
Yeah, it looks good.
Hey, I got the next story for us. I got another
thanks,
story. Yeah, no problem. Anytime, dude. Director of the upcoming film Baby Driver, Edgar Wright's his name. That's the director, ladies and gentlemen. He, in a recent interview, said that he might be doing something big, if I'm getting the quote correctly. He couldn't say anything. He said, "I'm working on something big. I have to kind of censor myself." And there's rumors about that, saying that he might be directing a Star Wars film. I hadn't heard about this story today, but the idea of a director that's sharp like Edgar Wright and then putting that into the Star Wars universe could be really, really something. I don't know what story he would tell. I don't know what character it might be revolved upon, but I wanted to know your guys' thoughts.
I have started, after movies like Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and now Baby Driver upcoming, I'm starting to view Edgar Wright as one of the, a lot of people do, as one of the premier writers and directors of our time. He's very underrated. And he usually has his own style, and it feels like he owns his own universe, too. His movies always feel a little bit fantastical, even if they take place in the real world. And, again, Star Wars is a fantasy, my favorite franchise, but I would buy him 100% in it, but he's one of those guys that I would almost just rather him write and direct his own material. There's some people I like them just sticking to their niche and sticking to their ideas. Like, you couldn't make a Star Wars movie to the beat of someone's headphones robbing banks. You know what I'm saying? I feel like his ideas are special for the way he wants to take them, and I would hate to see a studio kind of tamper them. Now, if he does do a Star Wars movie, I'm not going to complain because he's the man, but he's one of those guys like Tarantino and Nolan that I just like seeing them do their own thing. Personally, that's how I feel.
I totally see that.
Edgar Wright is very talented. His movies are very unique, and they have their own style, and I'm excited to see Baby Driver. He actually even wrote the screenplay and the story for Ant-Man. So
that's a good point.
he can kind of take on those studio roles. I mean, Ant-Man was a great, unique story that, it was one of those movies that was announced by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it was kind of like, why the fuck are they making Ant-Man? It was kind of like Guardians. When Guardians was first announced, like, everybody was like, all right, who are these guys? Mm-hmm. Guardians kind of had a small, cult comic book following, and now they're huge. And Ant-Man, not at the same stratosphere as Guardians, but Ant-Man was well received. I enjoyed it more than Doctor Strange, big time. And, a lot of people could probably say the same. Paul Rudd was awesome, and the story just seemed to work. And that is on the account of Edgar Wright. So he he's talented. He has a good vision. Now, with Star Wars, I don't know if I'd want him handling Episode 9, but I'd certainly want him handling like a Boba Fett project or, the Obi-Wan project. One of the kind of anthology films, I mean, Ant-Man was a successful studio film. I'm not saying Edgar Wright can't do it, but to piggyback off of Mike, he's very original and he has his own thing. And if you're if you're not tinkering too much, like Episode 9 is going to be like the ultimate conclusion to Star Wars. There's going to be like, that's the end of the Skywalker, saga.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying like I don't want him to do it. I'm sure
Colin
if they
Trevorrow is doing Episode 9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they already did it.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. So it would be an anthology film from Edgar Wright. Now, if you're going into way deep Star Wars lore, like an Old Republic movie, something like that, where it hasn't really been touched on a ton, go ahead. It'll be awesome. I mean, he's just a very unique mind, and if you give him a Star Wars story that's not necessarily attached to the Skywalker line or anything like that, then I think he could do really well.
Before Peyton Reed came on to direct Ant-Man, Edgar Wright was supposed to. He was supposed to write and direct, and because of creative differences, he left the project, actually. Which is why I started to think of a studio picture with Star Wars, and that's kind of where I was coming from.
They also, sorry to
No,
interject.
you're good.
They also did touch up and change the story and screenplay a little bit after he left as well, because he had that ready to go for a few years, and then the studio kind of was like, hey, let's do something else or take it in a different direction, and then he left, and then they changed a few things, and you can tell in some scenes they completely left in what he did because it was so well done, but a lot of that movie got changed.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't make it great, because he helped it a lot.
Well, what do you think of him doing a Star Wars movie, possibly?
I'm right there with you, Mike, that he should keep making original things because he's very good at it. Like, it might be kind of wasted time to see him do Star Wars, but it would be probably a great movie if he were to touch anything in Star Wars. I would just want to see him doing more and more original things, because every time he tells a story, it's always different, but it's always sharp, and you can always tell that it's him because he's very tight and specific with the way he directs, and I love it.
Yes, 110%. And Baby Driver, was it 3 weeks now?
I can't wait.
Oh my God.
It should be about
2
3 weeks.
It's the week after
two?
Cars, isn't it?
It's 28th, so it would be 2. It's a midweek release, actually. That's what we were
So
looking
it's
at.
like
It's like
two
a
and a-
Tuesday
two and
or
a half
Wednesday.
weeks, yeah.
So that one will be coming out soon, and but yeah, I guess that's all we got on this one too, right?
Yep.
Sure.
And someone else take us into the next one, because I am sure not doing it.
That's all of our news, actually.
I know.
So
I don't want to
Okay.
start talking about that shit box.
I'll
Dan,
do
you
it.
start.
I'll do it. All right. So we saw a movie this week, and it was one of the worst movies I have ever seen in my entire life, and I think these two would agree. We saw The Mummy.
Hold on, Dan. We got to do the positives first.
So let's do our positives of The Mummy. Directed by Alex Kurtzman, who I think should never work in Hollywood again. Starring Tom Cruise, Sophia Boutella, and that one blonde chick. Also, Russell Crowe is in it for some reason.
her name is Annabelle Wallace.
She's in Peaky
Annabelle
Blinders.
Wallace.
Yeah.
Okay, British. Positives.
You struggling?
There are no positives. to this
We can. All
movie.
right. Ryan, what do you got?
The first minute and a half was kind of cool. It was like being narrated by Russell Crowe, and it's like, all right, maybe I misjudged this movie. And then the first kind of dialogue happens between fucking terrible Jake Johnson and Tom Cruise, and I'm like, we are in for an hour and a half long ride of shit here. And that's exactly what happened. So there are no positives to this movie, in my opinion.
Ryan?
Well, one of the things, because, I'm right there with Dan, that it was a bad movie, and that Universal should feel sad for making it. But One thing that I always like is Tom Cruise. I think he with what he was working with, he added a little bit of charm that sometimes got me through it. The way he delivers lines is always nice. He added a lot of fun to it. But that's not nearly enough to save the movie. I'm just saying I enjoy Tom Cruise in the movie, but not at all one of his best.
In terms of my positives, I will say at times the atmosphere was decent. I thought they at times, but then they would contradict the tone a lot. But when they tried to go dark, at times I would buy it. Like Dan said, the prologue I thought was very cool, which was about 5 minutes.
Not even. It was like 2.5.
Yeah,
3.
and I'm a sucker for mythology too.
Yeah.
And they added a little bit of that in, so I enjoyed that portion. Personally, he wasn't in it a lot, but I liked Russell Crowe as Jekyll and Hyde. The scene he is Hyde is absolutely makes no sense why he is, but I enjoyed his parts. That's all I got really for positives. Like you said, I don't disagree with Tom Cruise trying maybe, but he did not have a lot to work with.
I just have to say the thing is about Tom Cruise is I felt like I could feel his struggle in making this movie. I think he knew how fucking terrible this movie was or how bad the writing was because he tried to add like substance to these lines and I was just like, okay, I don't think this is him. I think this is completely 100% the writing, you know? Like it was just like he drank a lot in a lot of the scenes in the movie, and I have to say, like, he might have been drunk filming this because, like, he just tried to do whatever he could to make it not shitty, but it was shitty, and I feel bad for Tom Cruise because I think he tried to spice up the shitty writing there, but just couldn't.
We should probably dive into the negatives, huh?
Oh yeah, let's
now,
go.
real quick before we get into negatives, are we getting into spoilers?
No,
I feel it might not be necessary.
We don't need
Doesn't
that
need
at
to
all.
be spoiled. It's shitty.
If it comes up, it comes up. Don't go see this movie.
Yeah.
But we'll give our rating in a little bit. In terms of negatives, Dan hinted at it earlier. The dialogue is so clunky and bad. The movie tries so hard to be funny and badass, and it just comes across as super cheesy, especially with Jake Johnson's character, who I think's actually all right because he's funny in Jurassic World, he's funny in New Girl, but in this movie they try to make him like the comedic relief and like the witty guy, but his character's just awful, and why his character is continued throughout the movie after a certain point is beyond me. These actors do not have much to work with, and that's why I can't blame Sofia Boutella that much because the writing is just so bizarre and just not fun to listen to. It's like cringeworthy at times. It's really, really bad from scene to scene. Ryan?
I have a few notes on this. Just things I want to point out to people. I'll say a few things about the movie, but Alex Kurtzman was the director, as Dan said. This is the second movie he's ever directed. Before that, he did shorts and some TV episodes. And I feel like with films, Universal might not want to make the foundation of a series on a one-time film director. So they took a big risk that didn't pay off there. Another thing that worries me about Alex Kurtzman, completely unrelated to The Mummy, is the new Star Trek series that's been in development. Not a movie, it's a TV series. It's called Star Trek Discovery, and he is a producer of that, and that's super worrying. Not that that's related. That show has been in the weeds for quite a bit. And this movie's written by 4 people, and it shows. As you said, clunky dialogue. The entire organization that Russell Crowe runs as Jekyll and Hyde is completely ridiculous and unexplained, as well as his character. It's not very explained. Russell Crowe has to explain himself, and he actually has to explain a lot of
the
why
story.
things are happening in the movie. And nothing's it's spoon-fed to you, and nothing is easy to follow unless there's a narrator or a complete exposition plot dump of them in the base, and they're like, well, this mummy's really bad. And she's she's gonna
She was erased
she's gonna
from the
get the
history
dagger.
books.
Yeah, she's real bad, and she's gonna hurt you when she gets that dagger, Tom Cruise, and then he goes, insane and things like it's very all over the place. And God, they made a mistake with this.
It was just sorry, like I was just laughing over here, because I'm scrolling through right now on IMDb. It's at a 6 for some fucking reason. Like
How many votes does it have though?
It has like 140, but
Wow.
I just read 3 reviews in a row that had like 7 to 8 stars, and like some guys just like, all in all, it's really not a bad movie. I'm like, this guy fucking sucks. this is the worst movie I have ever seen. It had $125 million budget. I hope it doesn't get that. Like but it will.
I don't know if it will. It's not
opening
that strong. I don't
it's so, dude, it's so fucking bad. Like oh my God, like literally, 99% of it is bad.
What didn't you like about it?
I fucking hated what's his name, Jake Johnson. He was terrible. His role in the movie was to kind of be like a comedic relief sidekick that drove the plot, but he was fucking stupid. Like every time he was on screen, I'm like, this guy sucks. I didn't like how like there was supposed to be this some sort of like backstory to the blonde chick, and then it was just stupid. Like she worked for Dr. Jekyll, and it was supposed to be like this big revealing terrible moment, and it didn't have any effect because then there was still that stupid lame love story between Tom Cruise and this chick that didn't make any sense. And this movie just didn't make sense. Within its own movie universe and in real life, it didn't make sense. It shouldn't have been made. Like I said it yesterday, I should have taken a $10 bill and burnt it rather than buy a ticket for this movie. It's terrible.
Do you guys think that the dark universe that they're trying to establish with all these universal monsters, do you think it's going to continue after this poor performance and
they got
rating?
More lined up, so I think they'll give it a couple more. But they keep signing on big stars too, and like I can't name off the top of my head, but there's been more people signed up. Like Johnny Depp's signed on to play somebody, and like they keep getting big stars. And I don't know what they're selling them on. Maybe they're just giving them a ton of dough, which is possible. But I also said this when we got out of the movie. You can see a bad drama or bad comedy and brush it off, but when a blockbuster has zero entertainment, the action's not good, there's not many laughs, the story's not very compelling, you really chastise the movie, and I did 100% with this one. I was never entertained. The action was never good. It really wasn't. Maybe that's probably from Alex Kurtzman's direction, but it was never like fun for me. It was never a movie that was. I think it was just trying to be like scary and trying to do too many things instead of focusing on some small things that could have made it a little better. But it didn't.
Like
it
that was the thing with Michael Bay's Transformers movies is, I feel like the more recent ones, ones with Mark. Nothing against Marky Mark, but. I mean, the thing about the Transformers movies is they were never. I mean, I liked the first one. Second one was third one was okay. They were still successful summer blockbusters because they were the robots fighting each other's entertaining, and Michael Bay will always get like an attractive chick. The thing is what they did with the attractive chick in this one was they got the more attractive chick to be an ugly 5,000-year-old mummy. And, I don't want to sound like misogynistic about it, like a movie, like a summer blockbuster needs an attractive chick in it. But that's one of the aspects of the Transformers movies that Michael Bay always has. I'm saying it's a director's trope for him to like help people get into the seats. I know as like a 14-year-old kid, I wanted to go see Megan Fox run around in a desert, and see robots fight each other. There's nothing like that in this Mummy movie whatsoever. There's nothing fun. There's nothing that could like be like, okay, I want to get out of my seat and go see this. Like not the star power of Tom Cruise might be the reason why anybody goes to see this, but I am just utterly disappointed in this royally shitty movie.
Are we, Ryan? Do you have anything else? Or are we get ready to score this thing and throw it to the side?
I had one more thing to add, because this movie actually is not Universal's first attempt at trying to establish a dark universe. The first movie that they were trying to get footing was actually in Dracula Untold from 2014 that stars Luke Evans.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
now,
okay.
while not going well critically, against a budget of $70 million, this movie grossed over $200 million, but mostly overseas. And I think that because this movie clearly can still do well overseas. I think, like in China, this movie can easily make hand over fist what they spent on the budget. Easily. Especially with Tom Cruise attached to it. And so I think if Universal makes it back in overseas gross, they're definitely going to keep going with this train.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll just kind of be okay blockbusters every time. But, that's business.
So we ready to rate this thing?
Yeah.
I'm at a 1 out of 5.
I'm also at a 1 out of 5.
I'm at a 0.5, but since we don't go below 1 on our scale, I'm at a 1.
Okay, so 1 out of 5 for The Mummy. Don't see it. Don't rent it. Don't waste your motherfucking time. Rewatch Goodfellas for the 30,000th time.
I almost wanted to see Wonder Woman for the 3rd time.
Cars
so
is next
good.
week, right?
Cars is
All
next
right.
week.
I'm excited for that.
Hey,
Yeah.
Fun fact about Wonder Woman. It has had I just saw the story before we started the show. It's had like the best Friday to Friday opening since the Spider-Man, the old trilogy first Spider-Man. So like it's done about the same all week. It hasn't really dropped at all. A lot of movies you'll see like a huge drop in how much it's taking in. It's made like about the same equally each day since last Friday when it opened.
That's fantastic.
That's amazing. No,
Yeah.
here's the thing. Like, oh my God. I want to see Wonder Woman for a 3rd time. I can't believe I saw that Mummy movie. I mean, we had to see it for the podcast, but goddamn, like it almost like I'm angry with myself. Not because we have an awesome podcast that we get to review movies, and honestly, it's a good thing that we review a shitty movie every so often,
It puts a little wind in our sails.
Exactly. I
get
mean,
appreciative.
we need to see shitty movies sometimes because it makes us appreciate the good ones even more. My wallet doesn't think the same as I do, but I mean, it's a good thing for our podcast and it's a good thing for our thing. But with Wonder Woman though, Patty Jenkins was on Conan the other night, and she's awesome. I just want her to just do a lot of DC comic stuff and keep going. She's great.
I've heard she's doing the sequel.
Yeah, she's a great talent, great personality. It was awesome seeing her on Conan, and I definitely know why the Wonder Woman movie was. I mean, it's a great movie regardless. But now, like seeing the director and seeing how she is, like personality wise, and like she's very passionate about it. Like, oh, what a great movie! I love how we're talking about Wonder Woman still.
Yeah.
Because the Mummy was so fucking shitty. All right, let's get into.
And I'm
going
going
to
to continue. I want to continue this. Wait, just real quick. One more thing on Wonder Woman. She's not signed on yet. She actually just has said she wants to.
Wants to.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
But right now she's in a really good position because her and her production team now have all the leverage on DC and Jeff Johns.
I'd love to see
So
her
what they're doing is
be made maybe creative talent going forward.
that's what the rumor is in the business right now is that since she has so much leverage, she might even try and overtake future projects as like lead director on things, which I think would be perfect. And I think they'll probably let her do a lot more things moving forward.
Well,
But
before
I'll stop.
before Batman turns into a disaster, maybe she like helps it.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe.
Moving in to our discussion topic. We're all done here, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving into our discussion topic, I decided to make a mummy-related discussion topic, but not in the way you think, because mummies kind of sounds like mommies.
Well, in
And I want-
in like
I want
in like
to-
Britain and Australia, like mum,
Yeah.
Mum.
is like, you know, what they say.
And I want to talk about the mommies today. I want to talk about our moms. And, Father's Day is coming up this weekend, so I thought I'd have a mother's topic in poor timing. And so I wanted to ask you guys, why do you love your mom? What does she do for
I'll
you?
go ahead.
Yeah.
Because Mary Pat is the absolute most selfless, kind. It's just I can't even put into words like why I love my mom. It's just like she's so great, like just incredibly selfless. Like, I mean, she treats us awesome. I felt like I was raised the right way from my mom and my dad. But, like my mom is just so selfless, always doing whatever she can, like to make us, I mean, since I've gone to college and, my sister's about to go to college and my older brother's been at college, like she got a job again, to help my dad out and everything like that. And I mean, to get back into the game, like she's a flight attendant, and she was a flight attendant like before I was born and kind of like a little bit after, but she quit that early on. And I remember being as a kid, like she loved it. And it's kind of great to see that she like loves her job again. And to be doing something that she enjoys while also like helping out my dad and trying to help us out and send us through college and everything like that. But my mother's just an incredible woman. I absolutely love her. She's taught me so many great things, and she makes homemade cookies like all the time. Like I get homemade cookies in my lunch from grade school until high school, and then I'd get them. My mom would send them in care packages to college, and I still get them. And like people are like jealous, and that my mom would do that, and my mom would always just like shrug it off and say like, well, they're just like Nestle Toll House cookies. There's nothing special about them, but the real special thing about them is that she actually made them like every day, and she's just the best. I love my mom.
I love my mom because she lets me do things like record a podcast in her basement. I love my mom because she lets me do things like switch my major and do nothing but support me. I love my mom because I've done a lot of stupid shit in my time and gotten in trouble for it, and all they do is shrug it off and give me second chances. So growing up, I've always had whether I was playing sports or whatever it was, I always had the full support. And it's not, my mom's not a yes man either, or a yes woman, however you want to say it. She'll tell you straight, but if I have a fully thought out plan and I'm going to do something, I will have the utmost support, and I will always be asked every day, how's this doing? How's this doing? Like just constant checkups. Like at school, I can get away from the bullshit and call my mom every day and complain about the hyper liberals on campus that piss me off, or like something like that. I can always go to my mom for help or support. It's what a mom should be there for, is someone to talk to or a shoulder to cry on or whatever it is. My mom has always been that, and I can never thank her enough for it. I've always told people I'm a self-proclaimed mama's boy because I'm not afraid of it. I love my mom. She knows I love her, and we got a special bond. I still go see movies with her, like Wonder Woman, because she's like, all right, you're into comic book movies? Let's go see comic book movies. And she'll learn about them, and she'll get into them too. I mean, my mom is always into what I'm doing, and that's awesome.
That was cute as fuck. That was great. I love my mom, Linda, a lovely woman. I love my mom because she demonstrates love to me by her actions, and I want to tell a little kind of story about how she does that. So like, I'm a real forgetful piece of shit a lot of the times, and in high school, a lot of times, because I'm in a rush in the morning or I'm too tired. A lot of times I'd forget like my lunch, most days. There were times where I'd do it like 3 days in a row. And fortunately, my mom, she's a hairstylist, and she worked a little close to my high school. And every single day that I'd forget, she'd always drop it off at the pool front desk, because I was a swimmer in high school. And she'd always drop my lunch off every time that I forgot my lunch. And I didn't go hungry because of her every day. And it's stuff like that I really appreciate. That kind of shows you love someone, that like, even if I'm fucking up day after day of forgetting my lunch, love is kind of just like, all right, here we go.
Anyone can say, I love you, but it's the small actions that demonstrate when someone really cares about you.
Yeah, and those things overall, they stack up over time, and you look back and you really learn to appreciate someone just for kind of always thinking about you and always wanting to make sure you have your lunch every day, or whatever it be, to anyone. So, shout out to all the moms out there that might go overlooked this weekend while we're talking about our dads. But hey, dads are great too. That's another topic for another time.
Love your mums, love your mummies, but don't love the mummy, because it's terrible.
I love Tom Cruise though.
Yeah. Through the Scientology and all, he's a good guy.
Yeah, if they were like a freak accident and like my mom was like widowed, I'd let Tom Cruise be my new dad. That's okay with me.
Fuck.
Moving on to our next topic. All right.
I want some Hollywood money, man.
All right. We love our moms. That's that topic. Quick shout out. I love our dads too.
I'm in love with Katie Holmes.
He's in love with Katie Holmes. Tom Cruise is jumping on Oprah's couch. That was pretty embarrassing for him. And which brings us to our next topic. What is your guys' most embarrassing story? I will start it off because I got a pretty good one. So I can't remember what it was, whether it was it was either between 3rd grade or 5th grade. I'm going to go with 3rd grade because it makes it less embarrassing. I was on a field trip, and my dad was one of the chaperones. And we were just kind of, I forget where we were at, maybe some museum or something dumb. But at the end of the trip, everyone had to take a shit or go pee or whatever. And everyone was going to the bathroom and washing their hands. And I was a little late, and I walked in, and I saw my friends. And I lifted my leg. When I walked in, I smiled, and I lifted my leg to rip ass, and I shit my pants. I shit my pants, and I was like, oh no. And I went out, and they were like, did you just shit your pants? I was like, no, dude. No, I didn't. And I walked out, and I'm like, Dad, I just shit my pants. And he's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, no, I just shit my pants. And he's like, all right. I was wearing pants, thankfully. So I went to the bathroom. I stripped down. I threw my underwear out, and I went Full Metal Jacket out there with my dick. No, I'm just kidding. I had pants on. But there was still shit in my pants. So I had to play it off while I have poopy pants. Fucking walking around, and I'm like, oh yeah, playing it off like I don't. And there was only one of my friends who shall remain whatever the fuck. He is nameless in this story. He knew. He's the only one who knew. And so I got next to him on the bus, and we're sitting there, and I just want this to be over. I've shit in my pants, and it's still like fucking falling out at certain points. And he just turns to me. He's like, oh my God, dude, it smells so fucking bad. I'm like, you're telling me it smells bad. It's in my pants. And then we get back, and then my dad and I immediately leave from the bus. And that is my most embarrassing story. In like 3rd grade, I shit my pants on a field trip trying to be funny.
That's so funny. So, I mean, when you shit your pants, is it like a definite thing that it's gonna go through the undies?
You just feel a massive weight in your pants.
I know, but like you said it got into your pants. Does it go through the underwear when you shit yourself?
You never shit your pants?
Never had a shard or anything?
Yeah, it does. I sharted once, but I was in the
bathroom
already.
It leaks down
so I was
your
like,
leg.
Let's get out
it's
of
like
here.
flowing down like a pipe or something.
Like
That's
you've
how it-
you've never
God.
been you've never been like so sick with the flu to where like you sneeze or cough and shit just comes out.
I've never had
No,
that
no.
happen.
That's
Again,
happened to me.
I-
I knew like something was coming. Like I like got up from the couch and ran to the bathroom, but I like sneezed on the way to the bathroom and like it didn't like shoot out on the floor or anything like that, but it came out a little early. I did have to change my underwear. It's not like I fucking
Yeah.
shit my pants. Like just a little whoops came out, you know, like little flu
Yeah.
sneeze.
Not as bad as shitting your pants.
trying
when
to
you're
be
trying
funny.
to be funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm not saying like the shitting my pants days are behind me, because like when you go on jogs sometimes, really there's some close calls. Like I've come close, like when I was out on a run and I'm like way out on a path and I got a shit but I didn't beforehand. When you start running, you know that shit starts coming, and I've had some close calls, so it might happen one of these days. We'll see.
I don't know. Dan, what's your most
I don't.
embarrassing story?
Well, there are a few of them where I could keep it within like the poop realm.
You don't have to. You can do it.
I know, but like now I like want to, and it's not necessarily embarrassing. It's just kind of like.
I mean, did you have a story already?
did I tell you the? Did I ever tell you the Planet of the Apes story?
Yeah.
Could go with that one. I could go with the I could go with the like 13-hour long endeavor.
Do what you got.
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
man.
I'll do it. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of embarrassing stories. There are a lot of times where I make an ass of myself. Like I remember embarrassing stories from when I was in first grade, but this is like not embarrassed. Like I'm not embarrassed by this, but like anybody else like wouldn't tell this story because they're like, you know, pussies or pansies or whatever. So, all right.
Way
So
to play yourself up there.
yeah. All right. So this was like freshman year of high school, and you know, I was kind of in the prime of my holding in poop abilities. So what happened was you know I don't remember what I had for dinner the night before. It might have been Euros or something like that. So I was kind of playing with fire already. But I woke up in the morning and like I didn't take my morning dump, you know. And usually I can't like start my day without taking the morning dump. A lot of people can't.
I can't.
And I was kind of surprised, but I like didn't have to go, you know? Like nothing was coming out when I tried to like force it. So I was like, yeah, whatever. So I had my like normal breakfast of like, you know, like a Pop-Tart and a glass of milk or something like that. So everything's good. Everything's great. All right. First bell rings. And I go to class and I'm sitting down in class. The 8:06 bell rings. Mrs. Perry walks into the classroom. Mrs. Perry is also a prolific pants shitter. We're talking about legends of shitting their pants. Our reading seminar teacher from high school. She shat her pants a few times, but this is about me, not about her. Like that 8:06 bell rang. Mrs. Perry start talking, and just like this. Like this gurgling, just terrible noise just came out of my body, and I was just like, oh God. And the feces had made their way into the lower intestine, and I had to take a shit. Now freshman year, my lunch wasn't until fourth hour, and you know that's like 3 hours away at this point. So I was just like, all right, I can make it until then. I'm pretty good at taking shits. It was first semester freshman year, so I was in health class rather than gym, so I couldn't like pop one off in the gym locker room. And I
Pop one.
yeah. So at this point in time, I also must mention I was like afraid of using public restrooms, so I wasn't just gonna go in class because then people would know you as the guy who was taking a shit. So I wasn't gonna do that. So I was just like, all right, my plan here is to hold it in until lunch. Now that first period was painful, But then it kind of goes away after a while, like second, third hour. And then it gets to fourth hour, and I kind of like forgot that I had to take a shit. So I just go down like a happy fat fuck and go down to the lunchroom. I eat my entire lunch, triple stack PB&J, some Cheez-Its, Mary Pat's homemade cookies, and like a Coke or a water or something like that. And then I get up to advisory after lunch, and it comes back. Well, no shit, I just dropped an entire meal on it. The shit comes back. So then I leave. I was just like, all right, I'm getting over my fear of public restrooms. I'm doing it. So I walk into the bathroom during advisory, and there's already somebody taking a fucking shit in the one stall in the English hallway in high school, and there's only one stall in there.
Double decker.
No. So there was already somebody in there. I'm like, what are the fucking odds that somebody else is taking a shit when I have to take a shit? Like, I'm about to get over my fear of public restrooms, and this guy's already taking a shit. And I was like, ah! And I like actually made a noise. I was like, ah, are you kidding me? So I was just like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? I'm just like literally there, like about to crown this fucking prairie dog. And I some of it just got pushed forward, I guess. I pissed and relieved some of the pressure down in my intestines, while like clenching cheeks like the entire time just to make sure poop didn't shoot out the back while I was peeing. So I gained control of that ability during this horrific story. But that didn't relieve my bowels of poop. So then, the piss relieved some pressure until like 7th hour. And by 7th hour is the last hour of the day. I'm squirming in my seat. After lunch, I went to my locker and grabbed everything I would need, and I was like carrying a heavy backpack on purpose because after 7th hour, I planned to fucking sprint down to the football locker rooms and take a shit. All right. So I do that, and I run down to the locker rooms. But freshman year, for whatever reason, the one time of the year, we had to go directly into Coach Grogan's classroom to watch film, like after our 7th hour. Like, we couldn't change into our pads first for some reason. We had to go to his room for a team meeting. And that team meeting was like 45 minutes. And then after that, we only had like an hour and 20 minutes left to like practice. So he gave us like a 10-minute window to get dressed and get out on the field. So there is no time for a shit in between.
For most people, there is.
Well, I know, but yeah. I'm not normal. So here's the thing. At this point in time, you knew, I think, Trevor knew, Max knew, Suda knew that I had to take a dump. And I am just like squirming around during practice, like somebody slapped me in the stomach. People were slapping me in the ass, and I was just squirming. And after football, like we broke out at the end of practice. This is out after an hour and 20 minutes of like, we even did a couple of up downs during that practice, and that was shitty. So here's the thing. Yeah. So I'm into holding this shit in for like 12 hours, 13 hours at this point. And good God, I was the first one in the locker room, and I shat, Ryan. I shat incredibly. But here's the thing I've discovered about shitting after you hold it in for a long period of time, is that when you shit after holding it in for a long period of time, it's all gas. You forced it into gas, and you are just farting in the toilet, and it is just protruding loud sounds. It's like when you put your phone into a cup and it makes a makeshift speaker, and the bowl of the toilet is just projecting this sound of my farts just all over the locker room.
Is the smell getting trapped,
and
or is that getting out too?
Huh?
Was the smell getting out too?
Yeah, absolutely. And now at this point in time, like the sophomores and the varsity football teams are in the locker room along with us freshmen, and I am just the loud shitting guy, and guys were making jokes and everything like that, and I was embarrassed, and it was terrible. So that was a terrible 13-hour endeavor of holding in a poop, and it took all 13 hours to be embarrassing. I'm glad I just wasted 10 minutes of our time here.
Some would say worse than the soldiers of what Benghazi went through.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say so.
All right.
This is so ridiculous because like, why at that point when you're just struggling that hard, why did you let society just keep you from going
you
to the
shoulda
bathroom?
just
At some
went
point,
to
you
the-
just
No,
gotta
here's
say,
the thing, because I had a
teacher,
fear
or-
of public restrooms, Ryan. That was it. I
know,
I
but-
no longer have this fear, kind of because of this story, and a one similar to it. But I'm not going to
You
tell
could
that
have
one
saved yourself
now.
embarrassment from just two anonymous people walking in the.
I know, but
than
that's
just
the
an
thing. I'm not saying it wasn't my strongest moment in life. But at the time, I was concerned about two random people judging me. We were also freshmen, so like, if you're a freshman taking a shit in like a public restroom at that point in time, like you are bound to just be the fucking literal shit pile of the school and be like, oh, that's the kid that took a shit. And then for the next 3 years of your life, you were that kid who was taking a shit. And those were thoughts running through my head, but that changed rather quickly.
That's understandable, but I mean, like when you're under that much pressure, you really at some point just have to say, you know what, teacher, coach, I gotta fucking go. I don't have time for this. Just let me take a shit. I'm leaving. Like nothing would hold you back at some point, you know.
No, I know.
But I understand you had this
I
fear.
understand that
Yeah.
now. Like it doesn't bother me anymore. If I got to take a shit, I'm taking a shit.
Yeah.
I don't care if I'm late for class or I got to leave a class early or got to leave in the middle of a class to take a shit, or if I've got to go in a public restroom. I just got to go, and I understand that now. But at the time, that was just not something I was comfortable doing.
Ryan, do you have one?
We're already we're already getting into just everyone has a poop story, so I got a poop story. Everyone's got a poop story once in a while, so fuck. I guess we'll just change this topic to poop stories.
What's your most embarrassing poop story?
I know, and I'll get there. It's just great that we do that after talking about how much we love our mommies. Just saying this. I just took this nasty shit. Yeah. So, as I mentioned during my mom's story, I was on the swim team in high school. Very difficult sport. A lot of times you'd be in practices like 2 hours twice a day, things like that. And sometimes it drove kids into throwing up because it was so difficult. And that comes into play later. But on a Friday night, I was having a night in. And I don't know if you guys have ever had the chocolate chip Fiber One bars. You guys ever had those?
Yeah.
They're fucking great. They taste really good. They taste like a chocolate chip cookie, and the chocolate taste is really strong. So I had these for the first time on a Friday night, and I had one, and I was like, oh my God, this is really good. And one turned into about 6. I ate an entire box of Fiber One bars. No regrets until the next day. We're having a swim set on Saturday morning. This is a 3-hour practice, and we're doing our warm-ups and stuff. We get into our sets, and then all of a sudden, I just start to feel this rush. And after 6 Fiber One bars, it doesn't feel like poop anymore. It just feels like your insides have melted and are about to fall out of your ass. And so I had this rush come through me, and I ran to go to the bathroom for what I can only explain to just be like lava falling out of my ass. And I went back to practice, and I thought that was the end of it. Because, you could get out and go poop and stuff. And I went back working through the sets, and all of a sudden it comes again. More intestines have melted and are about to fall out of my ass. And it gets so bad, I'm trying to hold this in, that I can't even kick anymore in my swim strokes. I can't even kick. I'm just dragging my legs. And I go into the bathroom again, and more of my intestines fall out of my ass, and it feels horrible. And at that point, I had to just tell my coach, like, because this was going to continue, and I
Was
just
it
had to say to my
Creenio?
coach, no, that's the water
Okay.
polo coach. I had to tell my coach,
Who was it?
it is Coach Gaby. I had to tell my swim coach, Coach, I just threw up in there. I'm feeling horrible. Can I like go home? She's like, oh really? Oh my God, yeah. Because if you threw up like a few times, you would just get to go home like it's like almost fake sicking. So instead of actually throwing up, I was just throwing up out of my ass, and I had to go home because like it was so bad for the rest of the day. It was just disgusting. So that's my poop story, guys. Yeah. Don't eat more than like 3 Fiber One bars.
Hey,
You'll die.
you didn't shit your pants.
Yeah.
No, but that was actually the time I came most close.
What if you pooped in
Is
the
it-
pool?
It would have been awful. That's happened before, but not with swimmers. It was with little kids, and they'd have to shut the pool down for like 6 hours, and they have to put they use shock chemicals, which is just really, really strong chemicals that basically just fries everything that would ever be live in there.
What if you diarrheaed and that became the color of the pool?
Oh God, I don't know what the fuck would happen at that point, but
What if you shit into like,
All right, enough with the pool.
like the pool filters, and then it just filters the entire pool in a poop?
You guys hungry?
That's-
I'm hungry.
Yeah, gotta make it home. Mary Pat was making
heard those,
like ravioli or some shit.
I might have a Fiber One bar.
Maybe.
Or I could have a Euro and have another shit scare on my fucking 5 a.m. flight tomorrow.
But you can poop in public now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't do it on a fucking airplane. Jesus Christ.
Really?
No,
Oh, I guess
absolutely
everyone
not.
would know.
Like, 'cause-
I
Yeah.
pooped on an airplane.
No, I mean, I'm not saying like I would. Like, it's just like I couldn't stand like because those the airplane bathrooms are flying out houses. Like they smell like shit, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like I just like I know for a fact like I will never have to hold in the poop for 13 hours like ever again. I'm knocking on wood right now.
Yeah.
But like I could make it through a 2-hour flight without having to like go to the airplane bathroom.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
but like once we touch down at an airport, like I'd be completely fine with pooping in there.
All right. This has been Poop Stories.
This has been one of our odder episodes, I'd say, especially with the discussion topics.
Yeah. I hope we didn't get too in the gutter today.
In the shitter.
And
No,
the
because
Mummy.
that's the thing. We talk about such a shitty movie like The Mummy, and then shit's just on our minds, so we have to tell our poop stories.
I even thought of an embarrassing story during like our show because I started the show with nothing on my mind, but then we wanted a poop story, so I'm like, all right, fuck it, here we go. But anything closing thoughts?
no.
Don't go see The Mummy, please. And don't hold in a shit for 13 hours if you can avoid it.
And
Yeah.
don't poop your pants.
Yeah,
There's a medium there.
just-
Just
yeah,
go
just-
to the bathroom.
Just don't shit your pants. Just go.
Would you rather shit your pants or go see the Mummy again?
Shit my pants.
I'd rather go see the mummy.
No,
again.
I'd shit my
I'm
pants.
not pooping my pants again.
Wait, it depends. What kind of setting are we in to where I poop my pants?
Right now, you're in Mike's
I'd be
basement.
pissed, dude.
Yeah, I'd
Smell
shit
up
my
the chair.
I'd shit my pants right here, and then I'd just go clean myself up in the bathroom over there, and then I'd leave, and Mike would be mad at me, and he'd get over
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, he'd be gone for a week. It'd be enough time.
yeah.
You've only got 2 witnesses on it. I mean, I don't think I'd tell anybody unless
All right.
you wanted me to.
I'm
But-
done with the poop.
Yeah, like I never
Yeah,
want to see
we're-
the Mummy again. I'd rather like go blind than see the Mummy again.
All right, and that is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're going to have links for that in the description. We're also on a couple social medias. We're on Twitter and Facebook. Again, links in the description. Any extra closing thoughts there, gentlemen? Anything?
Goodbye.
Love you guys.
All right. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us. Blue, 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 blue. Yeah, blah, blah.